is really kind, and he's given up his time to help us tweet today. So if you wouldn't mind just giving him a bit of a round of applause, that would be great. Thanks. And he's lovely. He's a dote. So, right, we're going to introduce Simon now. Sorry, Simon, for keeping you waiting. And Simon is from Quotefish, and he's going to talk to us about the collaborative economy and you.
Testing, 1, 2. Great, good day everyone. My name's Simon, and you're probably wondering what an Aussie blow-in is doing here talking about collaborative economy. So I'm going to tell you about it. Actually, I'm going to tell you about myself first, so give you a bit of background, and that'll lend into what the collaborative economy is about. So I'm a typical Aussie guy. I grew up, I was born in 1969, so way back when. Spent my time in the suburbs, like my perm back then, 1986, yeah. Spent my days riding my bike around the dusty Sydney suburbs, and spent my weekends, quite luckily, on Sydney Harbour, on boats with beautiful women. And I did that until I was finished school, and my friends, when they finished school, they went off to do college and university, and I got into the music scene and got into DJing. So, and I know we have a couple of DJs here, and I spent 6 years DJing nightclubs around Sydney, and it taught me a lot of things, particularly about the mating rituals of the humans. Imagine being up on a DJ booth and watching drunk people trying to interact on a dance floor, girls dancing around it in a circle of their handbags, and guys trying to penetrate the impenetrable circle of, you know, and meet each other. Anyway, so after doing that for a while, I kind of thought, well, I can't be doing this forever, I need to do something else. So I got into advertising. Advertising taught me a lot about people as well. I learned from, like, I basically walked in not knowing anything, worked my way up as an art director, and then I realised I don't know what happens when the creative leaves the studio and before it ends up being printed. So I went in and I did what's called pre-press, and I learned all about that. And when I became good at that, then I went back into advertising again, and I ended up being a creative director in a small advertising agency in Sydney, doing a lot of work for some major clients like IKEA and Lexus and BMW, and working on like $1 million campaigns and things like that. Now that was great, but I kind of came a little jaded after doing advertising, because like the music industry and like advertising, it's all about desire, and desire is a human trait that can be good, but most of the time it's bad. And if you're running a business based on desire, it
Sex shop.
Yeah, there you go, sex shop it does. And in that case, it's good, right? It's not always good, because desire sort of is more want than need, and things are changing now with technology. Anyway, so after doing advertising, 2007, I met a beautiful Irish girl. We got married, and in 2009, she made me pack up, and we moved to Ireland. Now, Ireland was great. I mean, Ireland's a beautiful country. I love it. It's a lot like Australia. I really have nothing to complain about, except that I turned up in the middle of a recession. And despite my skills and my experience, I found it really hard to get work. So what I did is I looked around online for a solution, because back in Australia there were websites where, here there's tradesman.ie, but in Australia there were websites where it didn't matter what you did, if you joined with these websites, and if people needed your product or service, they could post up what they needed and you would find them, and you could contact them. So unlike the golden pages or directories where you have to pick up the phone and call people, this is kind of a new technology that's coming out. And so what I did is, when I couldn't find a solution for my problem here in Ireland, I decided that I was going to create it, and that's when I became an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur doesn't always mean that you're going to be successful first time, but if you keep on trying, then you will succeed eventually. So Quotefish is essentially an online marketplace that connects, I don't like calling them consumers, but it connects consumers with local businesses. You could consider it as a matchmaking service for local businesses. So after running this, we launched in September, we won like best startup using digital at the Samsung Media Awards, which doesn't mean that you automatically get loads of clients, but it means that awards sort of, they aren't that great really. I mean, they don't really sort of result in, in success, but I mean, it means that your peers sort of, I don't know, like what you're doing, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, so after a while of doing this and working out what was right and wrong with it, it led me into this thing which I started researching called the collaborative economy. And for the purpose of saying it easier, we'll call it the sharing economy, which if you Google either, you'll find a lot of information about it. And this video done by another company should explain quite well what the sharing economy is all about. So what does the sharing economy mean to you and your business? Well, you're already in the sharing economy. Twitter, Irishbizparty, you share ideas and thoughts and what you do on Twitter every Wednesday night, and most of the time as well, most of the rest of the time as well. I shared a car ride in here today with Roz, and that's part of the sharing economy as well. I don't know who else did, but you'll find more and more that as people share things like this, that you'll realise that that you're getting more and more involved in the sharing economy. Facebook, I mean, how many people are a part of a Facebook group like Wicklow Buy and Sell or Dublin Buy and Sell, where you buy and sell your clothes or your baby strollers and prams and things like that? Before technology, before Facebook, you really didn't have the opportunity to do that. And you'll find soon that Google Plus will play a major part in the sharing economy as well. And that is because I read somewhere just the other day that that the head of Google Plus has left, and they now have a whole bunch of new developers that are working on rebuilding Google Plus from the ground up. Google Plus is great at the moment if you if you have a blog and you have Google authorship, and if you set that up. Now, if you're not sure about that, it's worth Googling, and that will help you, because Google authorship means that it gives you expertise on your subject. And for example, if you have it all linked up and you do a great blog post about something, the way Google works is that Google is there to answer people's questions. So the more content that you write, the more chance that someone will search for what you've written, and the more chance that you will be in the results. And that's SERP, and getting your results and your product and your profile and your brand up onto the first page. So the sharing economy involves a lot of things. The sharing of goods. Hang on a second. The hairing of goods. Don't know what happens there. Anyway, yeah, all the S's will be gone off this, I guess. So the sharing of goods, Facebook groups, like I said, done deal and adverts to buy and sell your products. I know that you might say, well, that's not really sharing, but in a way it kind of is. There's the sharing of services. which, I mean, there are guys here, I mean, a lot of you here who have products for sale, and then there are a lot of you here who are selling a service. Sharing of services can mean anything, like you know, putting your products up on Facebook, or it could mean using my product Quotefish, you know, to find new customers. What have I got? Elance up there, which is kind of a global thing, and there's tradesmen, online tradesmen as well, if you're more into that side of things. Sharing transport is getting bigger and bigger. We've already had Dublin bikes here for I don't know how long. That's a great example of the sharing economy. I mean, riding a bike from one place to the next and leaving it for the next person is a great example. Uber and Halo are really powering through the sharing economy and driving it. You'll see more and more of these kind of businesses appearing on the, you know, in the landscape coming up in the next few years. You have sharing spaces, which is new as well. There's Airbnb, which you can't see there. VRBO, which is something rental by owner. I forgot what the V stands for. Kid & Co, which is like Airbnb, but if you've got families, these are all great. Now, I'm sure the majority of you haven't heard of these yet, but you will, because they're taking over hotels. Like, they're becoming a real challenge to hotels. Sorry, Green Isle, but you should be aware of this anyway. And finally, there's crowdfunding, and I know that there's someone who has their crowdfunding website on that's a part of Irishbizparty as well. So you've got linked finance, seed up, and funded as well, so that you could raise money for a holiday, for a charity, for your business, for your next endeavour. Now, all these